Greetings students. Today we are going to start your tier 3 for class 6. We are going to start unit A, Introduction to Programming Languages. I have divided the chapter into two parts. This video will contain the first part of those two parts. This is for class 6. The subject is computers. I am Sivashish Sandilya and I welcome you to today's class. So first of all, let us understand what a programming language is. First of all, a language is a medium to communicate with each other. It is a medium to express our views and feelings. If you want to talk to me and I want to talk to you, then we will have to decide a common language between us. That means if you are speaking in another language that I don't know and I'm speaking in a language that you don't know, then our communication will be incomplete. So we will have to decide a common language. For example, you know English, I know English. So if we communicate in English language, then the communication will be complete. So that is a language in which I can express my views and feelings in front of you and you will understand, and you can also express your views and feelings in front of me and I will understand. To communicate with a computer, we also need a language which it understands. So now, if we want to communicate with a computer, to give it some instructions and to make it perform certain tasks, so we will have to communicate with the computer in a language which the computer understands. That brings us to the concept of a program. A program is a set of step-by-step instructions given to the computer to perform some specific tasks. Okay, a program is a step-by-step instructions. That means it doesn't contain only one instruction, it may be a set of instructions. That means a long list of instructions which will make the computer perform certain tasks. So let us come to the structure of a program. The program generally consists of the following steps. Number 1 will be input. So there must be an input either from the data file or the user. Either the user have to input something or the program has to take some input from a file already stored in the computer. Then the next step will be the processing of instructions. Whatever instructions is given by the user, that should be processed. That instruction may be calculate this, compare this number and this number, switch on this software, close down that software. That instructions may be of a varied kind. There may be a different types of instructions, and the second step of a program is to process those instructions. The third step of the structure of a program generally consists of the output part, either the output or the display. Why I am saying this? Because all outputs are not only display, because some outputs may be a sound file, some output may be switching off the computer. Yes, that is also done by a set of instructions. When you press down the shutdown button, then a set of instructions or a program is run whose input is clicking on the shutdown button. The processing is, now the computer will understand that while the user is clicking the shutdown button, that means the computer will have to shut itself down. The third step will be output. It will not be display, it will just be output. The output will be that the computer will close itself down. It will shut down itself. And the fourth step is the end statement. Generally, when the output is not so physical, in that times, most of the times, programs display some end statement. That means after the output, there will be an end statement that the program has finished compiling or the program has completed its run. For example, if you are writing a program to add two numbers, the first input will be, for example, input 6, input 7. Now, the processing will be you have to add these two numbers. After that, the display will be the resultant of that addition will be displayed on the screen. And after that, an end statement will show you that the program has completed its run, the program has come to an end or something like that. This is basically the structure of a program. It is easier, yes, of course it is a long line, but still it is easier to understand and remember like this: input, processing, output, end statement. Just remember these parts, it will be easier for you. Now this is a program cycle. First there will be input, then there will be processing. After that, after the processing, you will get the output and result. Please pause the video and draw this diagram once. This is very important. It generally comes in examination, and also you need to understand this, that the structure of a program and the program cycle is almost the same thing. The structure of the program is written in words, and the program cycle is a diagrammatic way of representing the structure of the program. So whenever you are asked to write down the structure of the program, then you will write those 4 points that we have already discussed. And when you are asked to draw the program cycle, then you will draw this diagram. So please pause the video. Once again I am telling you, please pause the video and draw this diagram once. Now let us move on to the next section. Here are some very important points about the programming language. Pay attention, because all these 5 points can be given as questions in your examination, and all these 5 points, even if it doesn't comes in examination, still are very important and you need to remember these things. The first point is the language which is used to write a computer program is termed as programming language. So a program is a step-by-step instructions given to the computer, and the language in which those instructions are written is a programming language. Let's move on to the second point. A programming language is a set of predefined words that are combined together into a program according to certain predefined rules. In our computer world, in our programming language, we call those rules as syntax. So what is a syntax? A syntax is a set of predefined words that are combined together into a program. Let us move on to the third point. A programming language lets the programmer express data processing in a symbolic manner without any regard to machine specific details. So to understand this, compare this with the algebra in mathematics. See, in algebra what we do, we represent a number using a letter. For example, X, Y, Z, all these are letters. These are symbols which represent certain numbers without any regard to how much big a number you can process in your brain. That symbol, that letter X, Y, Z, etc. will represent a number. In the same way, a programming language lets the programmer express the data in a symbolic manner without regard to machine specific details. It doesn't look out if the machine can process a big, a small, a decimal, a fraction number or a data. For example, I am just giving you an example, okay? Without that regard, it lets the programmer to express data in a symbolic manner. Point number 4. The process of writing specific instructions in a computer language is called programming. Point number 5. The person who does this job is called a programmer. So see, there are a lot of short questions that can be asked from this page. What is a syntax? What is a programming language? Okay, what is programming? What is a programmer? All these things can be asked. That is why at the starting of the slide I already told you that this part is very important. Even if it doesn't comes in your exam, it is important because in your next year, in your next class, that means in class 7, if you understand this properly and remember these things, it will help you out in some of your chapters. If you need more time, pause the video, read these 5 points once again, and if you have any doubt, feel free to contact me. You know my phone number and you also know my WhatsApp number. So, programming languages can be classified broadly into two types: low-level languages, or in short LLL, and high-level languages, that is HLL. The low-level languages are basically of two types: machine language and assembly language. And there are a lot of high-level languages. In this chapter, we are going to concentrate only on the low-level languages, that is the machine and assembly language. The high-level language part we will be discussing in our next video, in our next class. So let us move on to low-level language. Before moving on to the low-level language, here are some questions. What is a program? Pause the video. Without looking at the book, try to write down the answer yourself. Now, check your answer with the correct answer that I am giving you on your screen. Let us move on. Explain the structure of a program by drawing the program cycle. See, I already told you this is important. The defining point at this question is program cycle. If you are asked to write the structure of a program, then the answer will be different. It is asking for program cycle, so this will be your answer. Now, low-level language or LLL. Low-level languages gives instruction to a computer in machine code. What is a machine code? It means in the binary form, that is 0 and 1. You have already learned in your previous classes that a computer understands only binary form of data, that is 0 and 1. So, whenever instructions are fed into the computer in a machine code, that language will be a low level language. Now, low level languages are of two types, as we already discussed in the chart. Number one, machine language. This is the fundamental language of a computer. It is the language which a computer can understand directly. This language represents all data and instructions as binary number sequences in zeros and ones, as the computer doesn't understand any other than on and off. Here, on is 1, off is 0. So, this is a fundamental language. Computer understands only zeros and 1. So, machine language is the simplest form of language. That is why it is categorized as low level language, and it gives instruction to the computer in its sequences of zeros and 1. Now, assembly language. Assembly languages replace binary code for instructions and addresses with symbols and mnemonics. Here M is silent, okay? So that word will be read as mnemonics. So assembly language, what it does, it replaces the binary code with symbols. Programs written in assembly language are converted into machine language by specialized programs called assemblers or compilers. So we need special programs called assemblers and compilers for the computer to understand assembly language. Still, it is a very low level language, so that is why it is a simple language. That is why it is categorized as a low level language or LLL. Moving on, the only language understood by a computer is machine language. A low level language does not need a computer or interpreter to run the program. The processor runs low level code directly. So here are again two questions. What is programming language? And write a short note on assembly language. Pause the video if required. I am giving you the answers. Note this down. At last, we have some fill up the blanks. Pause the video, take 2 to 3 minutes, don't take more than 2 to 3 minutes to solve this, and once you are done, then unpause the video because I am going to show you the answers. So now let's move on to the answers. Number 1, a program is a set of step-by-step instructions given to the computer to perform certain tasks. Number 2, the language which is used to write a program is termed as programming language. Number 3, a low-level language does not need a compiler or interpreter to run a program. Number 4, assembly language replaced binary code for instructions and addresses with symbols or mnemonics. Number 5, a program written in high-level language has English-like instructions. Number 6, the only language understood by a computer is machine language. Number 7, the process of writing specific instruction in a computer language is called programming. And number 8, low-level language is of two types, machine language and assembly language. If you need more time, pause the video. Now let us move on and complete today's period. So this brings us to the end of today's class. I hope everyone enjoyed today's class, and in our next class we are going to discuss about high level languages. We are going to discuss what are high level languages. I am going also to explain why they are called high level languages, and we are going to discuss about some of the various high level languages, and then we will move on to some question and answer. Then we will complete the class. With that, our chapter will also be completed. At this point, at the very first class of your tier 3, I am reminding you, revise carefully several times. I cannot emphasize this enough. Please revise carefully several times. Don't wait for the exams to knock on your door before you start revising. This is Sivasis Sandilya signing out. I hope everyone enjoyed today's video. Thank you everyone.